Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Remad Custom Destroyer. This is a 1/12 scale, unauthorized, unlicensed, third-party Bane for the Dark Knight Rises. That's why it's called Destroyer, not Bane, and doesn't say DC on it any way, shape, or form. I ordered this from 1/6 Kit. It's a overseas-based website that specializes in these type of figures. I ordered versions A, B, and C. I personally don't even remember what the differences are, but I knew I wanted to get all three. So let's take a quick look at the packaging. As you can see, 1/12 Remad Customs Destroyer. You can kind of see the Dark Knight Rises Bane face here. This is version A. On the back, it does say 1/12 Bane scale collectible figure. No barcode, no nothing. So that's version A. Version B looks to be pretty much the exact same packaging, except it says version B. And then we have version C, which is some sort of a deluxe version, and it's in a much larger box. Once again, you can see the outline of Bane's face. Destroyer. Version C. Pretty much blank on the back. We have that same warning. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright. Now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. This is version A. This is the more traditional Bane look with sort of camo pants, big fur coat, and combat vest. Comes with a bunch of accessories, ton of different display stand and extra pegs. Then we have his coat, total of 8 hands, 1 head, broken Batman mask, picture of Two-Face, removable coat and vest, and then some buttons for his jacket. Looks to be really good. Nicely detailed. The funny thing, this is Bane. This is Bane with a dad bod. Look at him here. He's got a big belly. Boobs a little bit big too. Literally Bane with a dad bod. I'm sure it's going to look fantastic when you add everything on there. And it's not that he's like fat exactly, but he looked a little bit differently shaped in the movie. A little more tone. He was big, bulky. He's not, thin and lean. But this is literally dad bod Bane. So here are the contents of version A. And then here are the contents of version B. You can make a different look of Bane with this. And then here are the contents of version C. I thought I was going to get 3 different Bane figures, but I guess version C just gives you a little bit of extra stuff to enhance either version A or B. So let's start off by checking out version A. This is the most traditional looking Bane. Ton of accessories. This is how it came in the package. Pants were on, 1 pair of hands were on, no head, ton of stuff to add and enhance the figure. Now, I joke about him having a dad bod, which looks pretty accurate, but you're not going to have this guy with his shirt off. You're going to have with his vest on, his coat on, and the other ones have different looks, but they're also going to be fully clothed, and I bet he's going to look fantastic when complete. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, which I think they did an excellent job on. The mask looks great. The eyes and the eyebrows, they really capture the look of Tom Hardy from The Dark Knight Rises. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as it can go, with all of his removable parts detached. So now let's look at the accessories. And let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's the display stand. Very complex, has about 1 million pieces. It even comes with a little bag of screws that you would need to fully assemble the stand. Now, looking at the directions, you can see the display stand here has all these different pieces. You have to screw it all together. Looks like different options, etc. Even has places where you can hold his different hands and various accessories, as you can see up here. None of that really matters that much to me. I'm probably going to throw this thing into a baggie. I just care about the figure. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 8 of them. 4 right hands and 4 left hands. Here's Bane with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And then his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. I will admit, it's kind of a pain in the ass to swap the hands out. Just be careful. They're pretty tight. His head's the same way. Once you get it on, not easy to get that thing off. Here's his third pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with trigger fingers. And here's his final pair of hands. This is a pair of default hands. They would look good relaxed at his sides. Now for his coat, belt, vest, and buttons. So, removable coat, giving you a couple different options how to display the figure. It has a sort of dirty fur on the inside, looks good. Looks like the inside part of buttons Nice sort of velvety type material. Honestly, it looks absolutely fantastic. Then we have his combat vest. Then we have this belt, and this looks like it's going to be a pain in the ass. Going to have to connect all three of those things into these actual buckles here. And then you have a bag with these little buttons for his coat. Now, I don't know if there's a glue them on or what. I don't really see how else that's going to work, unless they're somehow magnetized or something. If it's glue, I'm probably not even going to use them. I don't know. We'll see. Here's his Bane, without the belt and jacket on. And then here, with both the belt and vest on. Oh my god, was that a pain in the ass. It's like literally impossible to attach his belt. Like literally impossible to put together. I tried for about an hour, gave up. My wife came home, I had her try. She couldn't do it. She ended up taking a needle and thread and putting it through some of the sort of fabric here and trying to go through the loop. Only one of the three was actually able to get into the loop, and that's after trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. They made this thing so hard to actually assemble properly. What a pain in the ass. And it's not like you're going to be able to take it off and put it back on and try different looks, because honestly, you could have Bane with the shirt off and the belt on. That's how he was in his base when they brought the commissioner to him. You could have him with just his vest and the belt on. That's when he broke the Batman. You could have him with his coat on and the vest and the belt on. That's how he was for a big chunk of the film. But you're not going to be able to go back and forth. It's just not going to happen. And that's why I ended up getting three of these guys to have all the different looks. You're not going to be able to swap around. Yeah, you can take the coat on and off, but if you get that belt on, unless I'm just missing something, it is so hard to take on and off. You will never want to remove that thing. Then we have his coat. And the coat looks fantastic. I love on the inside how it's kind of a dirty white. On the outside, it has kind of velvety material. It's got some fake pockets here. It looks great. Now it has no buttons on it, and it comes with separate buttons you can attach. And they look kind of like this. I'm not sure why they didn't just do it for you. And then here's Bane with the vest and belt on, no coat. And here with the coat attached. Now, the collar here is popped up, but it's sort of curling to the inside. I'm going to have to do some work. I want it to be curling sort of to the outside, opposite of how it is now. It looks good, but the collar is kind of screwed up. Still, I mean, that's a phenomenal coat. Then he also comes with this bag with a bunch of little buttons. I believe these are supposed to be for his coat. My guess is it's supposed to be for sort of the other side here. And I took one out. I guess you have to glue it on there. I don't know. If that's the case, I'm not going to mess with these things. I don't get why they didn't just put them on there for you, because they put those on. I don't think they're just extras. I don't know. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but there's no way I'm going to try to glue something that small onto this coat. I'll make a huge mess. And he still has a couple more accessories. We have this photograph of Harvey Dent. That's when he held at Blackgate Prison when he freed all the inmates. Here's a look at Bane holding that photograph of Harvey Dent. And here's his final accessory. This is Batman's broken cowl. When Bane broke his back, punched him in the head so many times it cracked his cowl and he ripped half of it off. Walked away in triumph carrying that broken mask. Here's Bane carrying that broken Batman cowl. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at Figure A, all of his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.5 inches tall, which can translate to around 16.5 centimeters. And now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, you can rotate side to side. You can look up and down a little bit. You can tilt just the tiniest bit from side to side. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a good 90 degrees, up, down, around. He does have these little butterfly joints here, but they don't actually seem to add movement, just cover up the gap there. Bicep cut, double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged at least a little bit. He's got a ball joint in his torso, rotate around, well, not his torso, in his waist. Forward and back. Look at that beer gut. Legs go out about this far, restricted from the cloth. They can go forward about that far, back not too much. He does have thigh swivel there. Double jointed knees. Sort of boot cut. And the ankles forward and back tiny bit. Tilt and rock tiny bit. And rotate. Now, his torso articulation is going to be quite a bit more limited when you have the vest and the coat on, but I wanted to show him without any of the clothing. So here are the contents of version B, and it comes with a lot of the same stuff as version A. The display stand, all that extra stuff. The regular hands, the head, the base body, those are all the same, but then he has 6 additional gloved hands, this leather jacket, this motorcycle helmet, and this sort of vest that goes on top. He also has the same sort of buttons that came with the coat, which is very confusing to me because this one doesn't cover the coat, so it makes me question if I was even right on what those are for to begin with or not. I don't know. So there's no reason to go over the same stuff that came with version A. We already looked at the base body, we already looked at the regular hands, we already looked at the display stand, so let's get those things out of the way. And that'll leave us with the following accessories. 6 gloved hands, the leather jacket, the vest, and the motorcycle helmet. Normally I'd start off with the hands, but they'll look weird without the vest on. So let's start off by checking out his jacket and vest, that stuff. So, deja vu, but here's Bane with his jacket off, and here he is with the leather jacket on. Here he is with the vest on. He had the vest when they attacked the stock exchange. He was posing as a mail courier. It has the same problems. Little clips on the side that are really hard to do, not nearly as hard as the belt, but tell you the truth, I'm planning to pose version B with just the jacket, not the vest, so no point to even bother putting those in there. He has these gloved hands, 6 of them, a pair of fists, a pair of gripping hands, and a pair of open hands. I'm going to put the pair of gripping hands on him and keep him that way. Here's Bane with those gloved hands detached. He's looking a little bit overdressed. I don't know, like a kid with a winter coat that's way too big and he can barely move and it just looks too sort of stuffy and bulky. And we have one last accessory to complete the look. That is his motorcycle helmet. It is red, just like the film. It's got a shield. Looks like it actually does go up and down pretty nice, and it actually is going to fit over his head. So here's Bane with his leather jacket on, his vest on, and his motorcycle helmet. It doesn't look quite as good as I'd like it to. It just looks a little bit big, puffy, and bulky. The helmet is really difficult to put on. I would be hesitant to take it on and off a lot. It's going to totally scratch the paint on his breathing mask. That thing totally rubs on it when you put it on there. But it is still kind of cool to have a helmet that actually fits over his head and not a completely different head with a helmet attached. So here are the contents of version C. I was mistaken and I thought that A, B, and C were each going to come with their own Bane figure. But C is just sort of a bonus, a couple extra pieces. That's why I got a second version of B, so I could display the parts of C separately, blah blah blah. We have a black shirt, a headset, a little radio, and then this sort of diorama piece, and that's the gate that Catwoman shut when she trapped Bruce Wayne to fight Bane. So let's start off by looking at his black shirt. It's really just a black long sleeve shirt. Not really much to say about it. It's a little bit stretchy. Now this shirt allows you to make 2 other unique looks from the film. In the opening, when they took down the plane, he was wearing a black t-shirt. Well, long sleeve shirt. And then later in the film, at the end, when it was cold outside, he had a black shirt on that was long-sleeved with his combat vest on top. So, you can actually make either one of those looks now that you have this shirt. And deja vu yet again. Here's Bane without the shirt on. And then here's Bane with that shirt on. Looks pretty good. Fits nice and snug. And he has 2 more accessories. These are both from the football stadium scene where he blew up Gotham. This one here is the detonator that he used, and it looks just like it did in the film. And then here's a headset. It took me a long time to figure out what part this was from. He never actually wore a headset, but he picked one up off of, I don't know, a commentator or somebody, and he sort of held it here, talking in there, and had the rest of the headset dangling below him. Here's Bane holding and getting ready to use that detonator, and here he is, holding that headset and speaking to the crowd. And finally, we have this little diorama piece, which it's cool, but at the same time, it's kind of useless for action figure photography, at least if you're going with widescreen type photography, which is typically what I do. It might work for a cell phone picture, but it's not even really wide enough for that. You have to provide your own background and sort of make it work. Still, I am definitely happy to have this. It's pretty cool. It's got the wire mesh ground, the sort of gate here that's made of metal, a little railing here, Like I said, it's cool, but I really wish it was a little bit wider, or rather, a lot wider. Here's a look at this Remad custom Bane figure. The 3 different looks I've chosen to display. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Dark Knight Rises Bane figures. Here he is, next to a couple of McFarlane DC Multiverse Dark Knight Rises Bane figures. They made the version with the vest on and no jacket, and also with the jacket on, the 2 most logical versions to make. They're a larger scale than the Remad custom figure, 7-inch scale. At least a Remad guy is 6.5 inches tall, but you can cover both these looks with a Remad or McFarlane. Here he is, next to the Mafex Dark Knight Rises Bane. He had 2 different looks you could achieve: pop the arms off, pop some different arms on, and the jacket, so you have, just like McFarlane, the vest look or the coat look, and they're considerably smaller than the Remad custom figure, and I'm happy that the Remad third party is larger than Mafex. I always want Bane to be big, bulky, intimidating. And here he is with all of my Mattel Movie Master Dark Knight Rises Bane figures. They only made 2 official releases, which is this one with the coat on, and this one with the shirt off. The rest of them are customs I made, and I'll try to explain each of the looks, and you can achieve pretty much all of them with the Remad custom. So this guy here is supposed to be from the final fight. He has a combat vest on and a black long sleeve shirt underneath. You can most certainly make this with a Remad custom. And then we have this one who has the combat vest on, no coat. Once again, you can definitely make that. Here's the fully coated one, and that's exactly what this one looks like. Then we have the shirtless one with the belt on. You could make him, not easily. And then we have my own version of the motorcycle guy with the leather jacket. And this one here is not really accurate to anything. It's just extra pieces from making this version of Bane. Now let's check them out next to all the other Bane figures that I have. Here they are, next to all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Bane figures they've made so far. And here they are, next to the Storm Collectibles Injustice 2 Bane. Then, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Bane figures. And now, with the Mafex Bane figures. Here he is, next to all of my Mattel Bane figures. Then, next to some older Kenner Bane figures. Here are absolutely all of my Bane figures. Quite the collection. I believe I have all of them in the 6 and 7-inch scale. If I'm missing any, please let me know. Here are these 3 Bane figures, with customs of his henchmen from the Nightfall comics, Zombie, Trog, and Bird. And here, next to a custom Bird from Arkham Origins. Here are these Bane figures, next to some different Dark Knight Trilogy Christian Bale Batman figures. The smallest on the left, SH Figure Arts, then Mattel Movie Master, then Mafex, and then McFarlane. To tell the truth, I'd say they're maybe a little bit too large for the Mattel or the SH Figure Arts. They're honestly too large for the Mafex, but I like Bane being much larger than Batman, so that works for me. And they're definitely too small for the McFarlane. It is kind of odd. They scaled this Bane as to not go with any of the Dark Knight Trilogy Batman figures out there. He's sort of in between the 6 and 7-inch scale. Do not misunderstand me. For my personal preferences, he'll work great with 6-inch figures. I want Bane to be big, imposing, intimidating. But Tom Hardy was honestly a little bit shorter than Batman in the film, although they manipulated the camera a lot. But this one is sort of between the 6 and 7-inch scale, and even though it meets my personal preferences, the accuracy is definitely not there, regardless of whether they're going with the 6-inch or the 7-inch scale. And here, next to several different Mezco Batman figures, I consider these sort of Mezco-style third-party, and I think he scales up very well with them. Maybe that is what they're intended to scale up with. But of course, Mezco doesn't currently have a Christian Bale Batman. There is one coming sometime next year. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a Remad custom third-party Bane, it's a 6-inch scale figure. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of these smaller action figure lines I collect, and work way larger. Here he is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts Batman figures. And now, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends and Mafex Batman figures. Does anybody see the Easter egg here? If you do, drop me a line in the comments below. Here they are, next to a wrinkled up grocery bag. And here he is, with some Mattel DC and Mezco figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some NECA and DC Direct Batman figures. Next, with some Diamond Select Toys and Jack-specific wrestling figures. And finally, with some McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. So overall, These Bane figures look absolutely fantastic. The likeness is good. The cloth soft goods on point looks excellent. Accessories are plentiful. But they did fall short in a lot of ways. I have no problem with the dad bod. Tom Hardy was really big and bulky for the role. The stomach could have been done a little better. It sure looks like a beer belly. But I'm not going to display my Bane shirtless at all, so it's not going to bother me too much. But could have just trimmed that down a tad. Makes for a lot of jokes. Dad bod Bane. The biggest problem is the sort of displayability or changeability of the figures. That belt is ridiculous. It literally does not work. Unless I'm just stupid, but there's no other way to attach that thing. It is like one of the hardest things you ever do in your entire life, trying to get that on there without just literally sewing it together. And if that's what they want you to do, that sucks. Also, the buttons on the coat. No idea why we have a bag of those things. I just don't get why they wouldn't put them on for you. Beyond that, Bane looks great. Looks absolutely great. There's so many different looks you can make. There's like 7 different looks. His articulation could be a little better. You don't need to be super articulated like Spider-Man. And yeah, you can get his knee up and break Batman over it, but it'd be pretty difficult to do. The soft goods really restrict the articulation, and it's not even that big of a deal. Biggest problem is just the execution. A lot of the stuff is so hard to get to work, and I will never, ever, ever consider taking that belt off. So I'll never be able to use the other looks, and that kind of defeats the purpose of having all those different interchangeable accessories. So I would love to give this guy like an 8.5 out of 10. That's what he looks like. But there's just so many issues with how to use him. I'm going to bump him all the way down to a 6.5, and it's really based off execution. He's also really, really expensive, so you think you pay that kind of price, you get good quality. And you do get good quality, but like I said, the execution is just way off. He looks awesome. By far my best Dark Knight Rises Bane. Love the leather coat look. Love the regular coat look. I even love the black shirt look. It's all awesome. But just so many issues. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you real soon.